Well, folks, following Donald Trump's conviction in New York City yesterday, his campaign is already beginning to collapse. They're starting to spiral as more and more Americans learn about Donald Trump's felony convictions. I mean, he is the first former president ever to be not only indicted, but also convicted of a crime. And it wasn't just a couple of crimes here and there. It was 34 felony charges, all charges brought against him. And surprise, surprise, a lot of Americans don't like that. They don't want the chaos that Donald Trump would bring to the Oval Office. So I have some updated data to show you, some polling that suggests that more Americans are looking toward President Biden now that Donald Trump has been convicted. Many were already doing this before because Donald Trump is a lunatic, but independents, the people who are kind of on the fence, are now saying, hey, Joe Biden's my guy for the next 4 years because Donald Trump just has too much going on, too much chaos, too much baggage and insanity that comes with him. So the first one I want to show you, the first poll, is from Echelon. It was taken the day after Donald Trump was found guilty. So today, May 31st, 2024. And Biden in this poll is now leading by 2 points. 49% for President Joe Biden, Donald Trump at 47%. And in previous polls, this is the interesting fact about this. This poll was also taken before Donald Trump was convicted among the same respondents, the same 477 Americans out there. And it was previously tied. Matter of fact, Donald Trump had a very slight lead, but, rounding up, it was tied. Now, following Donald Trump's conviction, just one day after, Joe Biden has already gained 2 points on Donald Trump and is now leading by 2 points. Biden is now beating Donald Trump nationally as Americans find out about Donald Trump's felony conviction. And I find it interesting that these were the same people they polled before this. So that is some terrific news, but I also have another poll to show you, this time from Ipsos. It was also taken today, May 31st, 2024. It has a larger sample size of 2,500 people, 2,556 to be exact. And according to this poll, Biden is, again, leading by 2 points. President Biden has 41%. Donald Trump has 39%. And again, this is following the convictions of Donald Trump. So we're seeing a pretty consistent trend in at least these two polls, the two main polls that we have gotten out following Donald Trump's conviction, where President Biden is gaining. Biden is gaining points. He's beating Donald Trump nationally in both of these polls. More and more Americans are saying, you know what? President Biden's a good, decent man who has done a lot, and you may disagree with him on some policy here and there, but he's a good man. He's gotten some good policy passed, like infrastructure, expanding veterans' health care, and more. Donald Trump, on the other hand, well, he is now a convicted felon, a proven sexual abuser, proven fraudster, facing 54 felony charges now that the 34 have been deducted from the 88 where he was found guilty on all. And he didn't really do anything as president, didn't really pass any policy, nothing good that helped the American people. The options are starting to become clear. You're starting to see the difference where Joe Biden, kind of the common sense option, the logical option. Donald Trump is the option for lunatics, for the people who want America to be harmed. It's the option for our adversaries. I'm sure they want to see Donald Trump get back into office, but if you're an American, you love the country, you care about it, want it to be better, then you're going to go with Joe Biden. And there are a couple of reasons for this, why we're seeing this shift in the polls. Again, to state the obvious, the main one is Donald Trump is now a convicted felon. He broke the law. We saw a lot of polls before the verdict that people would shift toward President Biden if Trump was convicted, and now that is proving to be true because, as I mentioned, people just don't want the chaos. They don't want a convicted felon sitting in the Oval Office. I mean, it's the executive. It's the president of the United States. They're there to uphold the laws and enforce them. And it would be kind of hard to have that if you have a convicted felon in the office, somebody who very obviously does not care about the law and doesn't care about upholding it and thinks that they are above the law. But the second reason I think that this is happening, and I'm going to show you a clip about this from CNN this morning, which I think really put it perfectly, is that Donald Trump's entire campaign is about him. It's not about the American people. It's not about what he wants to do for us or how he's going to make our lives better. It's all about him. Every campaign speech is, the FBI was so mean to me, the DOJ is so awful, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's all that. It's not, hey, this is the issue that I am going to work on the most, this is what I'm going to accomplish, and this is how I'm going to do it. The American people are just not resonating with his message. Like, yeah, Donald, we get it. You're being held accountable for breaking the law. How does that make my life better? How does that make my family's life better? right? How does that ensure a future for my children? Donald Trump is not talking about any of those things. He doesn't care. That's why. He's not talking about it because he doesn't care. And this was really perfectly summed up on CNN this morning. So take a look at that clip here of them kind of talking about that reason as well.
He chose not to do that. He chose actually to step into the Biden campaign frame of Donald Trump's candidacy. They say time and again, Mitch Landrieu said it on our air this morning, their argument is Donald Trump is making this 2024 campaign all about him and not about you. And that is precisely what he did at this rambling, I don't even know what to call it, just this venting session before cameras.
Yeah, he opened with a very, very blistering attack against President Biden, basically suggesting he's the worst president in the history of the United States. He can't speak. He can't put two sentences together. He was going on and on about the Democratic president of the United States.
Yeah, and then he went on for 45 minutes to show that he can't really speak or put two sentences together. You know, it was, I think, surprisingly incoherent, surprisingly all over the place. He wants to make this argument about age against Biden, but here he was looking, you know, kind of like an old man who was just ranting and raving in a self-involved way, to your point, David Chalian, and to the campaign's point as well.
Yeah, exactly. All about himself, not about us. Not about us one bit. He gets up there and talks about his grievances, and he's so angry at the world. He hates the FBI, the Department of Justice. He thinks Joe Biden is just so big and mean, but he's not talking about how he's going to do anything for the people. And I loved what Nia Malika Henderson said at the end there, saying, like, you know, Donald Trump gets up on that stage and says, Joe Biden can't speak, he's incoherent. Have you heard Donald Trump speak? Did you watch his press conference this morning? He was a rambling fool. Complete incoherent nonsense. He couldn't put a sentence together. He spoke for like 30 to 45 minutes about nothing. He didn't say anything during that speech except the usual, the FBI is so mean to me, the Department of Justice is awful, and Joe Biden it controlled it all. You know, the usual conspiracy theories that come from Donald Trump. He didn't say anything. He was tripping over himself. He was sweaty. He was confused. He was all over the place. And I love the contrast that she drew there. But, you know, just to circle back, I think that's the main reason. I think that people are starting to see the difference between Joe Biden and Trump. Joe Biden, as I mentioned, got a lot done, good person, not a convicted felon. And Donald Trump is. And Trump's campaign is not about anything but himself. He loves talking about Trump, 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 not the people and the policy that he believes in. So look, I expect this trend to continue. Joe Biden gaining, rising in the polls, Donald Trump falling. I mean, that is the logical option for the country. And I hope that my fellow Americans out there will follow the logic, follow the reason, and vote for Joe Biden. And as I always say, look, you don't have to love Joe Biden. You don't have to agree with Joe Biden as much as I do, but at least care about our democracy and our fundamental institutions we have going on here. At least, you know, and that's with Joe Biden. You don't get that with Donald Trump. Anyway, I just wanted to bring these numbers to your attention because I think it's fascinating that these are the polls we're seeing literally the day after Donald Trump was convicted. So anyway, I'll leave the video there. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe down below. It goes such a long way. I greatly appreciate it. Also, drop a like on the video and comment. Let me know what you think about all these polling, all this numbers we just saw. And yeah, I'll leave it there. Thank you for being here, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day.